Good evening, folks. But I don't have sound here.
You can hear.
No, this should work. There we are. Good evening, folks. From time to time, the management here at Red River has often thought, wouldn't it be neat to maybe have a post-film discussion periodically dealing with the movie that people have just watched. And this is a bold experiment here tonight to see just how you react to it and see if this is something that perhaps you would like to see more often. We have invited 3 people to participate in this discussion, and it will definitely be quite evident that you might ask questions or pass your own observations here as to just exactly what you have watched. But we've kind of titled this Appreciating the Artist. This is definitely a risky film to make in 2012. This group of brave souls who put together a black and white, pretty much silent movie for your entertainment and enlightenment. And what we have brought here tonight is an actor, a music composer, and a film historian to comment on what you have just seen and perhaps put it into a little perspective as to what they think are some of the important things that you have watched here and how hopefully it has affected you. So I would like these gentlemen to introduce themselves and also give you just a little background as to what prompted us to invite them here to talk to you.
Hi everybody, my name is Scott Severance. I'm the actor in the group. I actually auditioned for this film for the part of the dog, but I didn't get it. No. I've actually only been in one major motion picture in my entire life. I was in the film Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon, the Red Sox flick from 2004. So I am actually partly responsible for breaking the Babe Ruth curse. However, I've been involved in about 400 stage productions as an actor or a director over my career. I'm a member of both Actors Equity and Screen Actors Guild, and soon will be a member of AFTRA if SAG has its way, because they're combining the unions. So my acting experience is deep. And as a member of Screen Actors Guild, I get movies sent to me every year during SAG Awards time. I didn't realize this would happen, but since 2004, every February I get random movies sent to me in DVD form, and every once in a while, about 15 minutes, every 15 minutes in the movie it'll say, property of Screen Actors Guild, cannot be duplicated, blah, 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 but it's the film. So I save about $150 in going to the movies every year, because I get to, so this came to my house, along with The Descendants and The Help, and Moneyball, and Iron Lady, and Bridesmaids, and we threw this in, and I had no idea what I was about to watch. And without even speaking with you guys yet, I thought it was the best thing I'd seen in years. And I was really surprised to see that. But anyway, I'm the actor in the group.
Hi, I'm Steve Ambra, and I'm designated as the film historian here tonight. And I teach film at NHTI and have done so for a number of years. And the film courses that I teach include a lot to do with silent films, and have specialized in German Expressionism, among others. And I look forward to finding out why you like this film, why this film really worked for you. And we have a couple of special treats in terms of film clips that we'll share with you as well, to get you in the mood about silent films and sort of broaden the experience of watching such a great film tonight, and what else is in store when you watch silent films.
Good evening, my name is Mike Annicchiarico. I'm a composer. I teach at the University of New Hampshire, and I've actually had the experience of composing scores to a couple of silent films. And some of you may have seen them because Red River has been nice enough to sponsor me with both of the films that I've done. I did Safety Last here about 1.5 years ago, live with the film. And then we also did a screening of The Iron Mask, which was for a much larger group, and that was a pre-recorded DVD. And we screened that about a little, not quite 1 year ago, I think, here. So, but I've had some experience with actually dealing with writing music for this kind of medium. So, again, I'll be interested to hear your reactions to the music and how that fit with the film.
I think I can get to you without a mic. The group and myself discussed just exactly how we were going to talk to you this evening, and we've placed a great deal of importance on movie music and how it affects what you watch when you watch films. And if you've ever seen examples of pieces of film which have been presented with and without music, you will blatantly see how important movie music is. And the fellow who did the score for this just won an Oscar. And I thought that it was incredibly deserved. The music was pretty much spot on for the mood that was being attempted to be created here. And there were several moments when there was silence. And that sometimes is just as important a situation as providing the music. I've stepped in here when the movie has been on with those silent moments come on the screen, and I don't know how it was tonight, but more often than not you could hear a pin drop in the theater. Everybody is just glued to what they're watching, and when that silence is created on the screen, nobody moves. There's you can't hear anybody breathing even. It's incredible how this movie has been fashioned to, and I'll use the word manipulate you. Most movies tend to do so. But gentlemen, what do you have to say about the music and how it affected you here, and what you think the importance of it was?
Well, I could certainly say a lot of things, but I'd actually be interested in knowing how the audience reacted, how they felt about the music. I have a lot of specific things to say, but do you have, does anyone there have a response to the music?
I thought it was unbelievable, and it matched the emotions, and it got us excited and depressed with him. And what would it take to compose that kind of music for a film like this, Mike?
A lot of sensitivity. I think you probably noticed that the actors are doing some very amazing things with their bodies and their faces and gestures and all that. And it always astounds me when I see silent film actors and see what they do with their bodies. And they get those emotions across. It can be very poignant, and you don't have to have the music there to feel that. But when a composer can really hone in on the dramatic flow of a film and capture that, that's quite amazing. You know, sometimes people denigrate this kind of thing. They call it mood music. You know, they call it film music or mood music. But it is a very, very special skill. It's really, and there are some wonderful places in here. I tend to listen to this film score, you know, when I'm watching a movie, probably more than other people do. But there's some places where the emotions are changing quite rapidly, and it's not an easy task to handle that same transition in the music as well. but it was really done quite
The
really.
remarkable thing about this film is that this music is not underscoring. This music is the dialogue, because you don't get dialogue in this movie. You get, you know, subtitle screens that flash up every now and again when someone has spoken long enough that you can't tell what they're saying. But the music is the dialogue. The music is the words. And when I recall watching it going, I don't miss them not speaking. Because the music is taking you on the emotional journey that any dialogue would have. And you almost don't need to hear her say, if only you'd let me help you. Because you can just feel it because of what's going on there. And that was actually a silent moment in the film. But this is not underscoring, this is overscoring. Those are very different animals. Not like, you know, the Darth Vader music when he enters in Star Wars, you know, because there's all kinds of stuff going on there in addition to the music. In this, your focus is completely and totally on what the music, where it sent you. I thought that was remarkable.
Well, silent films were never really silent. They always had music. You probably went back to the Lumiere brothers, and those films were probably the original silent films because they didn't have music. But if you look at the person who was sitting in the first presentation with the Lumiere brothers is Georges Méliès, and if you watch the film Hugo, you know the connection. And the filmmakers realized that there is no sound. That you have one thing we want to lead to is the style of acting, but there is no sound, so you need music to help move the film along, convey, and help the emotional impact with the audience. And I think when you get to the type of performance, the gestures that are required in order to communicate, because you don't have the ability to speak, but you have the ability to convey and to talk without sound. So the music underscores that, moves it along. But then we get to the acting, which has to be very special in order to actually convey something and to connect with the audience.
We were talking in the other room, and I'm not sure that he has legit mime training, but I'm pretty sure the lead actor is a mime. And he's French, so hello. But literally the art of acting without word, because it's a very, very technical, specific medium, mime, and in order to convey emotion with your body, and he had a very expressive face, but in many scenes he didn't have to. And our illustration in the other room was that glorious scene where they have to keep taking the part in the movie over and over again because he's fallen in love with her, and they have to keep reshooting it, and he keeps clicking back into, I'm an actor now, and I'm doing the high style of this film, but then he'd sort of melt and when he looked at her, and that little 3-minute part of the film was virtuoso performance work by an actor, because he was all over the map, and he didn't have to say a word. So I'm almost positive he's a trained mime, and obviously they're both trained dancers, which sort of, you know, it harkens back to, you know, our connection in this country with the Singing in the Rain films, you know, those kind of silent movies where they can't stand, you know, where they're being dragged kicking and screaming into the talkies, and so we've got a cultural connection with this anyway. So it's an extremely French film, but it never felt foreign to me when I was watching it. So as an American piece of art, I was totally connected with it, even though it was extremely European in its stylization. It's hard to describe how you set up scenes like this. But these two, I didn't realize the director and the lead actress are married, and the actor has worked with the two of them on several films already. And now that you know that, you go, oh, because there's obviously a chemistry there. They obviously are comfortable, certainly the two of them, in each other's space in a way that it's chemical. You're just watching it on the screen going, those two know each other really well.
But we thought that there was more than just chemistry, and that there was really movie magic. And this film, in order for this film to work, it really has to connect. And it has to connect with us as the audience. Otherwise, because you're looking at a silent film, you're almost looking at bits and pieces of film history, and there's so many references to so many films from the past that you could actually pull out and identify that we're looking at a number of older films. But there's something about this. The chemistry is there, but there's magic, and there's magic because people care, and they cared about making this film. They love this film, and they love the historical part of it.
I love this film, and I just wonder, in America, and correct me if I'm wrong, in America it didn't gross any money, enough money. Is this true in Europe as well? And why do you think it didn't appeal to the public?
Two things: black and white, silent. This is what I've had come back at me as part of the team here that deals with the public. There is a couple that I visit and deliver flyers to every week for this place, and every week I ask them, have they seen the artist? And they said, no. It's like, I don't know if I want to see that. I said, why? It's really an exceptional movie. Come and see it. I would be amazed if you didn't like it. And they kept resisting and resisting. And finally, the fifth weekend that it played here, they reluctantly came. And I was here, and I said, oh, gee, I hope you enjoy this. I know I've been hucking you to come and see it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't feel that it's worth your 100 minutes of your life to come and watch this. And so they came, and they sat, and then I didn't see them when they left. The following Friday, I'm there delivering flyers, and just as soon as I came in the door, the woman is over in the background, 2 thumbs up, and she's saying, that is the best movie I've seen all year. But there was a resistance to coming, and it took needling in order to get them to come. And we've had pretty good run here with this film, but it wasn't in really the shadow of The Descendants, which played here almost simultaneously, although The Descendants opened earlier. The Descendants was probably doing twice as much business as The Artist. Descendants, another good example of an honorable piece of filmmaking, but The Artist is special. It comes across as something that you will probably remember long after you've forgotten the George Clooney movie.
Is it also true in Europe?
I can't answer your question. I don't know. I would like to think that it wasn't the case. We have trouble here with subtitled movies too. People discover that it's in a foreign language, and it's like, no, I came to watch, I didn't come to read. People do have prejudices when it comes to what they are willing to, at least on the surface, participate in. And it becomes really a little bit of a struggle to entice them in to see things that basically they don't want to see. And it is a chore to try to phrase how you describe a movie and how you try to extol the virtue of it in order for them to become interested enough to maybe set aside a prejudice or a feeling that they don't want to be part of a certain aspect of what the movie might be presenting.
Well, the artist can act like a door. And what I mean by that, film started in 1895. with the Lumiere Brothers. And when sound comes in roughly 1929, give or take, that's almost 35 years of film. And it's 35 years of film treasures. And for as great a film as we've seen, there are wonders behind the door that the artist can lead you to. One of the things that we were talking about, and the very first film clip. I don't know if we can.
I'll have to do something for that.
One of the things that we were talking about was the nod to a lot of different film artists, and you probably know the connection, or feel the connection, or see the connection, and have heard about the connection to Douglas Fairbanks. So the very first film clip that we're going to look at is from The Thief of Baghdad, which was one of the most lavish spectacles ever put on film in 1924. And this is a scene that lasts only a few seconds, but it took Fairbanks months to prepare. And I think Barry will get this set up for us, but it also underscores the acting and what's required for an actor. And you'll see the connection and the obvious reference between The Star Tonight and Douglas Fairbanks.
In his Oscar speech, when he accepted his trophy, he gave a nod to Douglas Fairbanks, blatantly adoring, and saying, "I stole things from you. I hope you don't mind." And
Now this is silent. It took him months to prepare this. You can see his style of acting. And in 1924, they're under the sway of Nijinsky, so it's very stylized acting.
Oh my God.
6 months of work went into that one scene.
Are you referring, Steve, to the jumping and the somersault?
Yes, from pot to pot.
And that was like the somersault that...
Now, did Fairbanks actually do that stunt, or
Yes.
that was really Fairbanks doing the stunt?
It took him, as I say, it took him months to prepare this.
This is unbelievable.
special effects before there were special effects.
That'd be a good place to stop there, Barry.
We keep using the phrase stylized. The most specific example there is when he was trying to show the audience that he was alarmed, that he was being followed, or that they had seen him. He did this. He did a thing with his arms, which is a very mind technique thing. It's an arrested moment of, I'm afraid, and I'm looking in that direction. Everybody got it? Now let's move on. We were using the phrase in the other room, it's over the top. I mean, if an actor did that now, you'd go, come on, that's a clown move. That's what clowns in the circus do. I'm frightened. You know, they act with their whole body is frightened, not just with their face. And so that's what we use when using the term stylized or over the top. In a film like that, he has to do it because he can't speak. And in a film like The Artist, a lot of the acting was approaching being over the top, but because it was a modern film, they couldn't do that. Otherwise, it would have looked silly, and we wouldn't have bought into the emotion and the drama of the relationships if those two actors had been doing that throughout the entire movie. There were several moments in The Artist where he did. His whole body would do a thing. Very stylized.
Do you think they built up to it, or took it at the higher mind level and brought it back?
I don't know.
I'm guessing it looks like they built up to it to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. The film edit. Did this win editing? Did this win an editing award?
No, that went to Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah. The process of making this movie, it would be a fascinating thing to know more about.
It was nominated.
Yeah.
I came expecting to see more of a French film. I realized you said I expected subtitles or at least some French language in it. And I was left with two maybe superficial thoughts. One was, I couldn't tell if it was filmed in the States or in Europe because the bottom button was buttoned.
Mhm.
And in Britain and the US, they don't do that. And I wanted to know what he sounded like. I mean, was he the kind of actor whose voice was so awful that he couldn't make the transition?
With pleasure. You got to hear him say with pleasure.
In terms of film history, Charlie Chaplin actually did at least 2 films into the sound era that had soundtracks where there was no language. He actually still used titles.
Well, actually, where we're stopping
We're getting
here.
to that, yeah.
This is from City Lights, and it was a film that was started in 1929. Chaplin started in 29, but it's not released until 1931. And we're not starting at the opening of this film, but the film actually starts with him poking fun at sound films, because what he does is he has the actors speaking through kazoos, and even better, he doesn't have everything synced, so that the lips are moving, there's no sound, and then you hear the kazoo-like voices, and that's his comment about the talkies. So, but it is a sound film. It does have, just like tonight's film, it does have sound in it where he actually swallows a whistle, and he gets hit in the stomach, and you can hear him whistle, and he's playing off of a fellow who's supposed to be singing, and every time a man starts to sing, Chaplin, he starts whistling. You can hear him whistle. But he chose, because of his character, the tramp, was never going to speak. There was never going to be a talkie with him in it. But Chaplin did several films where he did, within a different character, talk. But I wanted to show this next clip. If Barry, if you'd like to run
There
it.
he goes.
Oh. For those of you who haven't seen it, this woman for 95% of the film has been blind, the one sitting with the flowers. Chaplin's character has gone to prison after giving her money to restore her sight. Obviously, he knows her, but she doesn't know him. He has a long history with her, but she's never seen him.
If that didn't move you, you ain't got no soul. Wow.
It's one of the it's one of the most iconic images in film, and the part of the way why this works or why that works is she always believed that the man who gave her the money to help restore her sight was incredibly wealthy, and obviously he was exactly the opposite. But Chaplin was known for discovering or perfecting what is known as the paradox of intimacy. And I think that the paradox of intimacy is basically, if you look at it, is exactly what we are doing, because we're sitting in a theater looking at a projected image. But Chaplin understood that in order to care about the characters, he had to bridge between the screen and the audience, and that's the paradox of intimacy. And that's one of the things I was suggesting earlier, why tonight's film works so well, because the film was made in complete honesty and complete love, and that I think that carries from their film tonight to us, the audience, and that's why tonight's film worked, because they understand the paradox of intimacy.
Give it to him.
Other comments? Yes.
It occurs to me that when we watch silent films, we don't have the theater pianist. And so we're really seeing a much different experience than the original people did that saw these films.
Yes, the early films did have music. They all did have music, and if you, my understanding is that if you went to some of the lavish theaters like in New York and so forth, they probably would have even had a theater orchestra that would. Yeah, they show that at the beginning. They show an orchestra. Of course, it's not synchronized with anything, but you know, that was really disappointing. But to me, but they did have these orchestras, and there were these scores that were written for these films, and I think a lot of them are lost now. I think I don't know what would have happened to them. I suspect that after the film was done, they threw them away. So it was music that was created for that moment and then discarded. But yes, it is true that you know, that is a kind of a problem for modern day viewers, that we think a silent film is a silent film, but it's not the case. And everywhere you, I think probably just about everywhere you went, there would have been some kind of music. You know, in most theaters it would have been somebody tinkling on the ivories, and maybe not very good at it either. You know, I remember talking to this elderly woman one time and saying, "Oh yeah, I used to do that in the theater," and I'd heard her play the piano, and I said, "Really?" You know, because it was. I don't think it could have been really that great, but she did that, and so that was a very common thing, and you just try it, just see if you can do it.
My aunt actually played the piano in the silence, and I wondered where they, you know, the music, if the film came with music, or did they just play? My understanding, and I haven't researched this much, maybe you know more about this, that is that some of the films did come with music, but I was in a secondhand bookshop one time and I found this book, and I should have bought it. And it had these little tabs on it, and it said happy music, fight music, and you opened it up, and it had all these pieces. And it was a hodgepodge. I mean, you'd find a movement of a Beethoven piano sonata, and then you'd find some little popular ditty from the 1890s, and then you'd find, you know, it was this complete mix-up of things. But it was all intended to be music. You could just, you know, say, oh, here's the fight scene. You flip it over, and there you go. And it was, so there were these kinds of books around that somebody who could read music
and you had to be able to read music fairly well. Some of these pieces were not easy to play on the spot like that. But if you had that ability to read, you could have one of these little books, and there you go, you're in business. You probably know more. Do you know a little bit about the films and all that stuff and the music?
Quite a few came with their own music. Quite a bit was scored after, and you would find radically different scoring depending on where the film was being shown. They're usually known as cues, and it might give you an idea that you are to play a certain style of music with this particular scene or shot in the film. One of the last clips that we have, it's again, it's a silent film, but Criterion, if you're familiar with a Criterion film, they are going back and they are restoring so much of the lost treasure. Well, not so much lost, but restoring older film. Much of it is silent. In the clip that we would see, they offer 4 scores, and it's your choice of which score you want to play. They have what they believe is very close to what was originally intended, which is a large orchestra. They offer a solo piano. They offer I guess it's like a cafe type of small group, and then they offer an electronic version. And all 4 convey something different.
Interesting.
And you can make, you have a selection and the opportunity to make that choice. So some film scores exist, and you can find them, and they are right now synced exactly to the film that you would be seeing. And other film scores are lost, and that's why you're able to do what you do. Or other orchestras, the Alloy Orchestra, and those people are able to go ahead and write scores for those films. Question?
Earlier you referred to the artist as taking from other films.
Yes.
What are those other films, and what do they take, and where is it in the artist?
Well, there's so many films that are borrowed from.
Three.
Well, The Thin Man.
The dog.
The dog. You can think that William Powell and the nod to the Thin Man with the terrier.
The Douglas Fairbanks reference in The Mark of Zorro was obvious. That was actually Douglas Fairbanks, and then they sort of, the close-ups were
Jean Dujardin.
yeah, this guy.
The film pattern is A Star Is Born, and when I first saw this film, I wasn't sure whether I was going to be watching Frederick March sink into the depths that he did as Norman Maine. So you have that film, but then all of a sudden the film is transformed, and it's transformed to Singing in the Rain, and instead of having a melodrama like A Star Is Born, whether it's Judy Garland and James Mason, or Frederick March for that matter in the earlier version, you end up with I would call it a love letter, a love note to silent film, just beckoning us to say, come and watch more silent film. It is such a rich history in silent film, and again, it couldn't have been made without obvious love for silent film. But those are some of the films that where the history is connected, the more obvious. One silent film that you might have referenced, one film that's not silent that you might have referenced is Citizen Kane. If you remember the sequence about the deteriorating marriage, the director openly acknowledged that it was an homage to Orson Welles, and that they designed that scene with the disintegration of the marriage based on the famous scene in Citizen Kane.
Yeah, in the Citizen Kane, they have a conversation where they start basically having more and more arguments, but it closes with her surreptitiously staring right at him and picking up the rival newspaper and covering herself with
That's correct. Yeah.
Here, they have her drawing much meaner and meaner things over his pictures.
Yes. Yes.
The parallels are obvious.
Yeah.
But I hope that answers your question. But those are some of the films that inform this film.
I want to thank you folks for sticking with us tonight. Would you consider it a good idea to perhaps do this periodically? Yes. Good. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Also, we're going to do Mark of Zorro with a live performance shortly, so keep your eyes on the schedule.
Yeah, we
Mark
heard
of Zorro will be here.
Yeah.
That's right.
A fellow by the name of Jeff Rapsis, who has done a couple of shows here before, will be the player.